Program Director, Minister Nathi Mthethwa, Ministers of the Government of the Republic of South Africa, Deputy Ministers, the Premier of the Northern Cape, Ms. Sylvia Lucas, leaders of various political parties that represent our people at national, provincial, and local government level, members of the Provincial Executive Committee of the Northern Cape Government, the leadership of the National Youth Development Agency present here, the leaders of various youth formations in our country, ladies and gentlemen, we feel honored to share this important day in the history of our country and indeed in the calendar of the Republic of South Africa with the youth of the Northern Cape in Kimberley. We are here to celebrate, together with the youth in this province, to commemorate the heroes and heroines of young people who defined a new era in the history of the struggle of our country. The class of 1976 ignited widespread resistance around the country and exposed the brutality of the apartheid regime to the world. The 1976 generation confronted a system that had been described by the nations of the world as a crime against humanity. Against all odds, these young people of 1976 challenged a formidable enemy, and they did prevail indeed. And by so doing, started to write the history of our country, in which young people continue to play a key and important role. Thanks to their struggle and the struggles of those who followed, today the youth of our country, the youth of 2014, live in a country free of racial discrimination and oppression. They have the right to education. They have many other rights indeed, and they also have opportunities, and they also have their dignity. Yet, even though we have defeated apartheid, the youth of today are still confronted by the legacy of apartheid. The youth are particularly vulnerable to the problems that beset not only our country, but many other countries around the world: unemployment, poverty, inequality, and low skills. More than a third of the young people of South Africa form the labor force. They are unemployed. In every province, the unemployment rate among the youth is more than double that of people over 35 years of age. Youth unemployment is probably the single most critical challenge facing South Africa today. Indeed, many countries around the world are facing precisely the same problem. If we can effectively address youth unemployment, not only will we lift millions of South Africans out of poverty, but we will also be able to place our country on a trajectory of sustainable and inclusive growth. We celebrate Youth Day this year just a few weeks after our fifth democratic administration took office. During his inaugural address on the 24th of May, President Jacob Zuma said, "We have successfully completed the first phase of transformation. Today marks the beginning of the second phase of our transition from apartheid to a national democratic society. This second phase will involve the implementation of radical socio-economic transformation policies and the programs that will give meaning to it over the next 5 years." He said that economic transformation must and will take center stage during this new term of government. Youth must be at the center of that economic transformation. Our young people, through the breadth and the length of our country, need to play key and important roles in the economic transformation of our country. They must take up the opportunities that the democratic government is ushering out to them. They must take the lead and make sure that they truly transform our country at the socio and economic level. Even though youth economic participation has improved in absolute terms since 1994, and while over the last 20 years the government has created many opportunities, the young people of our country still face immense challenges. We therefore need to focus on special measures to ensure that the young people of our country have access to training, they have access to work experience, they have access to jobs and entrepreneurial opportunities. We must make sure that they are able to take up these opportunities and forge ahead with their lives. We have indeed made progress in a number of areas. Twice as many young people are in university today than they were in 1994. In this regard, South Africa indeed has a good story to tell. Nearly half of the 6 million work opportunities that will be created, we want to see them being created for young people. In the last 5 years alone, 2.7 billion has been set aside for youth entrepreneurship, finance and support. The amount available for student bursaries has doubled. It is true that we do need to do much more than what we have done. We need sharper focus, better implementation, and act with greater urgency in as far as furthering the empowerment of young people in our country. One of the most important factors contributing to youth unemployment is the relatively low skills amongst young people. This is perhaps the most devastating aspect of our apartheid inheritance. That is why the National Development Plan has placed such emphasis on education and development, starting with early childhood development and focusing on the first 1,000 days of the life of a young person. Progress in these areas will have a profound impact on the prospects for the next generation, and that will follow. At the same time, We need to improve the prospects for today's young people. We need to develop the skills that the country needs now. The intake of students for post-school education will have to be massively expanded over the next 5 years with the aim of enrolling the majority of youth aged between 18 and 23 years. Government will direct contractors who get business from government to help increase the number of engineers, artisans, project managers, machine operators, and financial managers. State-owned enterprises will increase the number of training opportunities that should be on offer to young South Africans. The private sector will be encouraged to also increase the numbers of well-skilled young people. To this end, we are increasing the training opportunities for young people through various institutions. Part of this effort includes the establishment of 2 new universities in Mpumalanga and here in the Northern Cape. We expect the Solplaatje University to have a profound impact ensuring that skills and knowledge and talent are retained in this province. The Solplaatje University will be a leading university in this province, and we expect many of you as young people, particularly in this province, to enroll in the Solplaatje universities in your thousands as you deepen your own knowledge, your skills, and make sure that you are ready to make a contribution to the economy of our country. Our experience has shown that even with improved education, young people struggle to find work. In part, this is because employers are reluctant to hire people with little or no experience. And young people have been struggling and suffering from this type of approach. A major priority is that we should provide work experience for new entrants in the workforce. As a starting point, the public sector will be required to increase the number of spaces for graduates so that they can get experiential training. The declaration that was adopted at the presidential Indaba on youth skills and jobs earlier this year highlighted the issue of internship programs in the state as well as in the private sector. Within the state, there should be a number of internships that young people should get, starting with about 20,000 a year from 2014 and rising progressively to 60,000 a year by 2018, resulting finally in a total of 200,000 young people who should be given an opportunity of first work experience through government within the next 5 years. The private sector should significantly scale up internships up to about 5% of total employment by 2019. We are proceeding with the implementation of the Youth Employment Incentive Scheme. This aims to lower the costs and risk for firms to take on new entrants. We will continue to monitor its implementation to ensure that it does not result in the displacement of older workers. The major drive of economic growth over the next 5 years and beyond is our investment in infrastructure development. Over the last 5 years, we have invested 1 trillion rand in infrastructure. Over the next 5 years, we expect to invest even much more than that. This program has benefits that stretch across the economy. It is a program through which jobs are being created as we speak now. It is a process through which skills are being developed as we speak now. It is a massive process through which our manufacturing capability as a country is being further developed. It is indeed a process that is improving people's lives and boosting the economic prospects of our country and its capacity. While all this will benefit young people, we have in addition undertaken to make sure that there are set asides of at least 60% of the jobs that will be created through these infrastructure programs, that they should be set aside for young people. This is a very important initiative by the government, that 60% of opportunities that will be available in infrastructure programs should be made available to young people. This will be combined with improved training by our further education training colleges to ensure that there are enough young people with the necessary skills. Fellow South Africans, it is on days like this that we are reminded that social change is not brought about by governments. It is achieved by people, ordinary people at that. Ordinary people wherever they may find themselves and whatever means they may have at their disposal. It is therefore critical that all stakeholders contribute to this effort. It is for this reason that we last year welcomed the adoption by all key stakeholders of the Youth Employment Accord, and why we remain determined to work with our partners to see to it that it is implemented. What our country needs is a coordinated, multi-pronged response to youth unemployment. It is a multi-pronged strategy that must be present in every policy discussion right across the breadth and the length of our country. It is a multi-pronged strategy that should form part of every law that is drafted, in every strategy that is devised by various sectors of our country. It must be on the agenda of every government department, every state agency, every corporate and every institution of learning. At a social level, we have made remarkable achievement and progress, particularly in the fight against HIV and AIDS. Young people of our country are called upon to continue with our campaign on prevention of new HIV and AIDS infections. We must live up to the goal that has been set up by the United Nations AIDS Program of 0 infections as we move forward. South Africans are living longer and are healthier than they have been in the past. Mother and child transmission of HIV has dramatically decreased. More than 20 people have taken the HIV test, and the awareness levels about this disease are much higher than they've been in the past. And the issue of the stigma on HIV/AIDS has been substantially reduced. We urge all of us not to be complacent, much as we have made progress in this area. We also urge you to accelerate the fight against drugs, alcohol, and substance abuse, which are tearing our communities apart. This is particularly relevant to young people. Many young people across the streets and the villages of our country are taking up drugs and are becoming susceptible to too much alcohol abuse. We need our young people to lead healthy lifestyles, free of any substance abuse. Fellow South Africans, this year, Youth Month is being celebrated under the theme, Youth Moving South Africa Forward. The many activities being undertaken across the country this month demonstrate that our youth have embraced this notion, and we applaud the youth for embarking on many activities to mark this very important month of Youth Month. It does show that the young people of our country are becoming more and more patriotic, and they are taking up their responsibilities as young citizens of our country very seriously. This we applaud you for. We welcome the work being done with respect to career guidance, entrepreneurship, health awareness, the spiritual welfare of the youth, political and environmental awareness, the initiatives that you are taking to deepen and to broaden social cohesion, and how you are taking initiatives to tackle drug and substance abuse. This is all commendable, and we pay tribute to you for taking all these measures. It shows that the youth are taking their responsibility for their own development seriously. In this regard, we commend the youth of this province, especially the 100 volunteers who have launched an initiative to build 76 houses this month through the Youth Build Brigade. There they are, standing right in front of us. Let us give them a round of applause, because they are demonstrating that young people can truly lead. I was privileged earlier this morning to be taken to the houses that these young people are participating in building, the training that they are getting, where they are acquiring skills in the building trade, in the built environment. It does demonstrate that these are young people who have taken up their own future very seriously, but more importantly, who are beginning the process of contributing to society and the development of our communities. A tribute to the class of 1976, these 76 houses will benefit the most vulnerable in our society, the elderly, people with disabilities, and women and child-headed households. We must thank these volunteers and the stakeholders that are involved, including the Francis Bard District the National Youth Development Agency, the Departments of Social Settlement, Human Settlements, the Department of Energy, and others who made this contribution to this effort. This is true patriotism and a perfect example of how working together, on how the young people of our country working together with others can move South Africa forward. Together we must work hard to build a better, a more caring, more equal, and more prosperous nation. We have achieved much in the last 20 years. Let us work together to achieve even much more. The Northern Cape today has shown us how we can show that we are a caring society through these houses that they are building. They have shown us how we can care for one another. They have also shown us how young people can take the lead and take initiatives of this nature to ensure that they care for society and they care for the elders in the nation. This is the way to move South Africa forward. And the people and the young people of the Northern Cape have clearly demonstrated this, and it is all there for the whole nation to see. So I pay final tribute to the people of the Northern Cape for this wonderful initiative and also for hosting this Youth Day here, where many of you in your thousands have come to attend this Youth Day celebration. We finally pay tribute to the youth of 1976 who took our country forward, and we also pay tribute to the youth of 2014 who are ready to take this country to greater heights, to move South Africa forward. And I pay tribute to the youth and I say, Viva the young people of our country, viva! Viva the young people of our country, viva! I thank you.